It's time, people. It's time. It's the season finale. Now, I have been this hype for a season finale in a very long time. All truths are about to be revealed. It's The Penguin, episode 8. And for the last time in a very long time, welcome back to Gotham, people.
Let's go! We're taking back Gotham!
Now, this episode was big and wrapped up so many loose ends. I mean, I've been wondering for a while how they're going to leave things in preparation for the Batman 2. And I think it's fair enough to say they've done enough to keep us hooked onto the arrival of the next movie. One thing I will say though, is that Penguin has definitely earned his place in Batman's rogue gallery as one of his top and most diabolical villains. Now, one of the biggest takeaways from this episode was definitely the relationship between Oz and his mum, or more like the fallout from that relationship. Now, Dr. Rush uses his little voodoo red light machine that he uses for his patients to actually dig deep and get Frances, as in Oz's mum, to reveal stuff from the past, what actually happened when Oz was young, and what happened around the time of which his brothers went missing. And obviously the truth being revealed was even more disturbing than what we initially thought. Now, the point was, actually, Oz's mum knew what happened. She figured it out when he was a child, and she hated him. I mean, she was like, you know what, I don't like, she called him, her phrase was, she said, "I've got the devil living in my house." She told one of the Rex, the local gangster, and she actually asked Rex, who actually, let me be fair. Rex gave her two options. Rex said you can either try and raise him and use that evil in him and try and shape it and try and control it, or the other option is, obviously, Rex, he's a local gangster, says I can get rid of him. And his mom actually decided she was actually going to let Rex kill Oz. And just by chance that, you know, she changed her mind because Oz said the right thing at the time. Now, the scene where Sophia has both Oz's mom, Frances, and Oz tied up and gagged in the room, and she's asking them both questions about the truth and about being honest with each other, it was my favorite scene of the whole finale, because it's the realization on Sophia's face when she actually figures out that Oz actually is crazy, has no weakness, because she thought she'd figured it out. She thought, you know, I've got his mum, I've got him now. But she's torturing them, and she's like saying to Oz, you know what, just tell the truth about what happened to your brothers when you were little, and we won't cut off your mum's finger. And Oz is like, swear, I don't know what you're talking about. Ma, they're crazy, they don't know what you're talking about. And Sophia's face, the look on her face was like, he's actually gonna let me cut off his mum's finger, rather than actually say the truth. It's like he creates a new reality. Or actually, that's not true, because you can tell that he actually knows what they're talking about, but he doesn't want to break character. He will stick to that lie, regardless of what's happening. And I think that's when Sophia realized that she was dealing with a different kind of animal. Now, that scene ends with, obviously, Oz's mom revealing that, you know what, Oz, I know what you did. I do know what you did, and I hate you for it. And even with her saying that to him, he still would not accept the truth or speak the truth. He still acted like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Even though his mom's told him, I know what you've done, sort of thing. And to make it worse then, here comes the first spoiler, she stabs him. She stabbed him with a broken bottle. Now, in a way, that's almost like a poetic justice, a real good revenge for Sophia, because the person that Oz supposedly cares most about in the whole entire world, his mother, has just told him that she hates him, and she's actually then stabbed him and tried to kill him. And said, I should have let them kill you when you were little. Now, if that's not the biggest revenge you could get on your enemy, then I don't know what is. But it still didn't seem quite sufficient, because Oz was still not accepting that reality. He was still living his own reality where his mum loves him and he's going to do everything for his mum, and he just would not break from that. So it wasn't as satisfying for Sophia, I guess. Anyway, Oz being Oz, as you know, Oz escapes. Oz gets out there, takes his mum to the hospital to try and get her some help, and obviously patch himself up. So next, we get the return of Victor. Again, like I told you from last week, he was absent last week, but Victor returns as we expected to save the day, or supposedly so. So he gets the Triads and the Irish and the other gang families to come together, crime families, to come and help Oz. But as they turn up, they realize obviously that explosion's happened, and they were like, whoa, there's cops everywhere, we're gonna back off. So they all go and leave Victor by himself. So Victor has no army. So when he makes contact with Oz, finds Oz in the hospital, patching himself up, and he's really apologetic, you know, Oz, I failed, you know, I tried to get these people. And again, Penguin's like, you know what, Victor, don't worry, it's me and you. We got this. There's a real solidarity there, real like, you know what, mentor-mentee or brothers, you know, like it's almost like Victor becomes the family that Oz wanted in his brothers rather than what he actually got. So the relationship almost becomes more solidified. So it's actually quite nice. So obviously at this point, it's like all chips are down, you know. So Penguin does what he does best, which is pivot. He makes another plan on the spot, actually comes with another idea. And he got to see his old government official friend, the one that got the lights turned on earlier. He's obviously still got dirt on him. Got to see him and obviously asked him for, first of all, advice about how to fit into their world, which comes up, which is actually quite pertinent to the Penguin he actually becomes, in terms of the way he dresses and looks and everything. But the immediate thing he did is actually he fed him a story of what happened with the explosion. And Penguin is so good at this, where he actually took all the facts of Sophia's blown up the tunnel in the middle of the city. Sophia Falcone, sorry, the hangman has returned. She's killed a bunch of people. And all this is about the war between the Maronis and the Falcones, who are also known as the Gigantes. It's nothing to do with me. That's Penguin. I know nothing about it. Totally removes himself from the situation, feeds this guy all the information he gets that actually can get him a promotion and get him moved up that ladder in terms of his position. And he's able to shift all the blame onto Sophia and obviously Salvatore, even though Sal's obviously dead already. But even that he blames on Sophia. He's very good at blaming things on other people. Just so I could jump back 10 minutes when Victor finds him in the hospital, Victor obviously asks him what happened. And what does Oz say? He doesn't say my mother stabbed me. He said, Sophia stabbed me. So he always has his own version of reality that he's living in. He will never confess when those things sort of go wrong or when he's been betrayed or stuff like that. So yeah, he's very good at selling stories, is what he does. Now also things are wrapping up for Sophia as well. She's obviously preparing to leave town. She's had enough of Gotham, she's done. But she cannot go, it cannot sit with her spirit without actually getting back at Oz. The fact Oz escaped her already now, she wants to get that retribution with Oz before she leaves. So she tells all the other families, gets them together and tells them that anyone that brings her Oz can have the whole Falcone business. She's giving it all up. So they're all out there, you know, looking for Oz and they're like, you know what, I can take this all over. And in the meantime, she cleans house in terms of, she actually burns her father's stuff and burns most of the house down because she obviously wants to cut ties with that part of her life and leave town, but not without getting Oz somehow. So she's made this deal with these other families and obviously one of them come through the triads. They turn up with Oz. Sophia's obviously, she's already outside her plane. She's about to board the plane. She's out, she's done. But she had to wait for that and get hold of Oz. And what happens? Victor has made a deal with the deputy of the triads and basically he's convinced, much like he's meant to Oz, he's convinced all the second in commands of all the crime families that they should be in charge. So all we get is like a montage of all around Gotham, all these second in commands are killing their top bosses. So the head of the triads there, he kills his boss and all, etc. And they all then come under this brand of, you know, they've done this and now they're obviously, in a way, under Oz. You think about it, because obviously this was his idea, him and Victor's idea. So they're all under Oz, and Sophia suddenly realizes that Oz has outsmarted her again. At this point, she's kind of accepted that, you know what, she's gonna die, she's gonna get killed. So obviously Oz takes Sophia to the riverbank, you know, with a gun out, ready to pull the trigger, and Sophia's ready for death. She's prepared herself and everything like that. But suddenly Oz vanishes, and instead, the backup plan of the law enforcement turn up and they arrest Sophia for the bomb in the middle of the city, for the death of Salvatore, which obviously Oz did. But literally, as far as they're concerned, the story that Oz sold the DA was obviously it's the hangman back. You know, she's mental and she needs to go back into Arkham. And they've all bought it. It's been on the news. And Sophia gets put back into the worst possible place for her, which is back into Arkham. Now, in a way, I kind of knew that they weren't going to kill, and Christine Milioti has done such an excellent job in making people care about that character that maybe we didn't know about before, that I knew they won't kill her off. And it's quite, I can imagine that Matt Reeves will want her in some capacity, even if it's a small one, in the next movie. So Penguin has eliminated all competition and he is now the kingpin of Gotham City. Achievement unlocked. While there are still other crime families obviously going on and functioning, his ascent to the top is complete. But as the saying goes, sometimes even when you win, you lose. From the fall that Oz's mom took earlier, when she knocked her head, obviously add that on top of her dementia, she suffers a stroke in hospital. She's in a vegetative state where she can't speak and can't move and anything like that. Pretty much just paralyzed and just aware, but not functioning. And it's obviously heartbreaking for Oz. All he wanted to hear his mother say was, you know what, you did it, you achieved that goal, I'm proud of you. And the thing is, that even if she wasn't injured, here's where Oz is really quite crazy because she wouldn't have said that anyway. She's just told you that she hates you, that she wished you had died when you were a child for what you did to your brothers, and then she stabbed you. But Oz somehow still thinks that if she hadn't had that stroke, that she would have been saying that to him and congratulating him. He still believes that. And now, if you can remember, a couple of episodes ago, she made Penguin promise that if she gets to a stage where she has no dignity, that he would take her out, and he promised. But no, Penguin's not going to do that because I said he's a connection to his mother. I'm sure there's a condition around it, but he's literally obsessed with his mother. And she recognizes that he's been obsessed with her since she was a child. She doesn't really understand it herself because she said she gave them equal amounts of love. She tried to spread the love, so he doesn't understand Oz's obsession with her. But it is an obsession because rather than obviously let her die, Oz obviously takes her, and in his new lifestyle as the new king of Gotham, he puts her in a room on top of his penthouse with her medical equipment there, a view out the window, and just looking out, and comes to visit her and talk to her and tell her what's going on, even though she can't respond, can't talk, can't anything. And the camera gives her like a little small tear on her face. And she's like, you know what? You remember when she said that when he was a child, I'm trapped in the house with the devil. I'm living with the devil and I don't know what to do about it. She's now literally trapped in a state where she can't even move, can't speak, but with her devil in a place. And if that's not a hell, I don't know what is. So even though he feels he's doing a nice thing, keeping his Ma around, you know, Ma, I love you, you know, I'll keep you around doing nice things, he's actually increasing her torture, and now she's got to live with that. Now the episode ends in quite a nice setup, I guess, where Victor and Penguin are sitting together, and Penguin tells him that, you know what, Vic, you've come through for me so many times, you know what, I wouldn't have been able to do this without you. It's just me and you now. We've done this, you know, we've got to the top of the mountain. And Victor is like really emotional. He's like saying that, you know what, I lost all my family during the floods, and you took a chance on me. You took me in, Penguin. Oz, I really appreciate that. You know what? And you know what? I think we are like family. And Oz like, yeah, we are family. But, diabolical Oz, what does he do? Yes, you guessed it. He strangles Victor to death. He kills Victor, the person, the one friend he has, the person who's been most loyal to him throughout this whole shebang. He kills Victor. And why does he do it? He says, that's the one thing about family. They can be the driving force behind you, but they also make you weak. So because he had that connection to Victor, he felt he had to kill him. Also, I think that Penguin has the narrative in his head that he's a self-made man, that he did it all by himself. And the only person who knows that's not true is Victor, because Victor gave him a hell of a lot of help in getting there. So he wants to claim that title of self-made man, and I did it all by myself. Then Victor is the one person who obviously knows different. Also, Victor has seen Penguin cry, you know, seen him at his weakest, and probably knows, yes, they said knows quite a lot of his weaknesses. So in a way, Penguin saw that as a loophole he had to close. I mean, not us normal people, we wouldn't obviously consider that, but Penguin felt he had to take out Victor to close that loophole. So there you have it. The Penguin season 1 is complete. I mean, personally, I really, really enjoyed it. I believe going forward, whenever this gets rebooted in the future, I believe this version of Penguin is going to be the benchmark for all portrayals of this particular character. A bit like people judged a Joker on Heath Ledger's Joker. I think this Penguin is going to be the benchmark by any other Penguins played are going to be measured. I mean, Colin Farrell did such an amazing job of bringing him to life and actually making him a real person, a disturbed person, but a real person, not all the same. Even Gotham felt real in a way that they can't really see or show in a film. It kind of just felt lived in. It kind of felt like, you know, here's your regular shops. It kind of felt like a real place. And that's sometimes like something they couldn't always do in the Batman films. Now, speaking of Batman, I was debating and I was betting myself whether there's going to be a Batman cameo of some sort or even a Bruce Wayne cameo before the end of the season. But I can confirm there is no Batman or Bruce Wayne in the season. Even though we did get the little bat signal tease right at the end of the show, we got the little tease of the bat signal in there to show you that, you know what, this is still Batman's town and he's coming for Penguin. Regardless of what you've seen happen, the Batman will get around to him. It's just like he's one man, you know, he's got a lot of work to do. So bat signals in the sky, that's just letting us know it is coming. And part of me does feel like it might have been a bit of it might have spoiled it a little bit if we actually did have Batman. It would have kind of thrown the balance off a little bit of this crime underworld, and they had put Batman in it. So in a way, I'm glad they didn't. But can you believe we still have just under 2 years until the Batman 2 drops? Jesus, that's gonna be like an eternity for me waiting for that. Because I literally cannot wait for the Batman 2. I know people have their mixed opinions about it, but I just think it's, as a long-time long-time, lifelong Batman fan, and I've seen all the iterations, I've seen all the versions, I used to read the comics, I've seen all this, all the other movies, and I think this take, Matt Reeves' taken on Batman, I think is just something fresh and new I haven't seen, and I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Now, while I believe Penguin will be involved in the second movie, like he was in the first one, quite heavily involved, I think he'll be heavily involved again, I do not think he will be the main villain, especially if they want to get a Penguin season 2. But I don't know, it might be a bit harder to explain again, unless something happens to Batman at the end of the Batman 2, why Batman's not there. And we could take it for the first season, but the second season, if Batman's not there, it will be a bit weird if they do get a season 2, that is. Now, the blue color scheme that they've used for the Batman 2, if you remember, for the Batman 1, it was quite red, it was all red. For the Batman 2, the blue color scheme they've got at the moment on the titles has given off the vibe of Mr. Freeze. We won't be getting a Mr. Freeze. But that is just a wild guess. And more than likely, there will be more than one villain this time around. I know we had Riddler this time, obviously and Penguin in the background in the first film. I think there'll be more than one villain this time around, I think, just to make things a bit more complicated for Batman. Anyway, thanks for joining me for these 8 episodes. Be sure to let me know what you thought in the comments or what your favorite parts were. This is Mystery, signing off from Gotham City. Until next time.